Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're really digging into the quite surprising financial story of a true legend. We all know Michael Jackson, the music, the dancing, just the massive cultural force he was. But behind all that, there's this financial picture at the time he passed away that was, well, frankly, a bit of a shock.
Right. And that's what we want to unpack today. How did this estate, which started off saddled with, huge debt, manage to become this empire worth billions today? It's a pretty incredible turnaround story, really.
It really is. So maybe let's start right there at the beginning, the debt. When Michael Jackson died, June 25th, 2009, the world was obviously mourning. But then came the news that even after earning hundreds and hundreds of millions over his career, he was somehow about $500 million in debt.
Yeah, $500 million.
$500 million? How does that even happen?
Well, it wasn't just one single thing, It was sort of a combination. You had these high interest loans he'd taken out. Then there was undeniably a very extravagant lifestyle. Lots of spending on personal luxuries, and of course, the huge cost of just keeping Neverland Ranch going.
I can only imagine the upkeep on that place.
Exactly. Think about the bills, the staff. It was like running a small town. And crucially, his really valuable assets, particularly that 50% stake he owned in the Sony ATV music publishing catalog, those were often used as collateral. Basically, he pledged them as security to get these massive loans.
Okay, so he's leveraged up to his eyeballs, essentially. He passes away, leaves behind this $500 million hole. And yet, somehow, what happens next is this really remarkable financial comeback for his estate. Someone stepped in and managed things very carefully.
Very carefully and very strategically. Today, the estimates for the estate's value, they're well over $1 billion. Some people put it as high as $2 billion, maybe even $2.5 billion. And that kind of growth, climbing out of that D hole, it doesn't happen by accident. It's really proof of some very smart decisions made after he died.
So the big question is obviously how. What were the specific moves? What levers did they pull to make that happen?
Okay, so it basically comes down to a few main things, executed really well. First, and maybe most importantly, just the incredible, enduring power of his own music catalog. Jackson's music is still just a powerhouse. It generates huge amounts of money from streaming, from sales, from licensing for movies, commercials, you name it.
Right, his music is everywhere.
Everywhere. And a really key moment, a defining one for the estate, was the sale of half of Michael Jackson's share in that Sony ATV catalog to Sony Music Group. They didn't just rush to sell it, though. They were strategic. They waited until the market conditions were right, until valuations were high, helped by his lasting popularity and the boom in music streaming.
Smart timing.
Very smart. That one deal reportedly valued his music assets at over $1.2 billion. And they still kept the other half, meaning they still benefit from future earnings. And you have to remember that Sony ATV catalog isn't just his own amazing songs. It includes this vast library of other huge hits, including, famously, songs by the Beatles.
Right, the Beatles catalog, that was always a big part of it, so they cashed in part of that huge asset.
Exactly. It gave them immediate cash, helped slash that debt, and freed them up to invest in other things. Beyond the catalog, the estate's also done a really good job with merchandising and licensing.
Okay, like t-shirts and things.
T-shirts, collectibles, using his image, his brand. They've been pretty savvy about keeping it relevant and making money from it. And then you've got MJ, the musical, the Broadway show about his life. That's been a massive hit.
There are great things about it.
Yeah, it's bringing in significant steady revenue, millions. And there are other things too, like a biopic that's apparently in the works. All these things keep his legacy alive and, well, profitable.
So when you put it all together, it's pretty clear this wasn't just about managing debt. It was about actively growing the value of the legacy. Strategic management took this estate from deep, deep trouble and turned it into this multi-billion-dollar powerhouse. It really shows you what's possible even after an artist is gone.
It's an absolutely extraordinary journey, isn't it? From $500 million in the red to being consistently one of the highest earning deceased celebrities year after year. So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. When we look at this whole picture, this incredible financial transformation, what does it really tell us about the lasting power of truly great art, global appeal, and, maybe just as importantly, really smart, meticulous brand management when it comes to building a financial legacy that lasts?